Hello at 4:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. I can't sleep, so I figured it was a good as time as any to talk about what I've been wanting to talk about for almost a whole week. There has been certain events astrologically and then events that have occurred and are occurring right now in the very city that I live in the very state that I live in the country that I live in. And this is, this is on top of what's already been going on around the planet. Okay, so before I get into all that, I want to start with talking about last week. So right now I am recording Sunday, May 31st, 4:30 something in the morning. Okay, so this is literally now a week. Last week, okay, around May 18th to the 22nd was Pleiadian lineup. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of this before. I've spoken about it a few times, but I'll share briefly here. During this time in May and in November, there basically is a planetary alignment. There is an alignment with the Pleiadians. Excuse me, my asthma is just really acting up, so I'm short of breath and wheezing. So, yes, May and November, there is this alignment, a gateway, with very, very like fine-tuned communication with the Pleiadians and opportunity for information. So basically codes, okay? Codes, communication, and remembering to be activated, to be received. So this is what happened yet again for me. And first of all, let me say that just because I give you specific dates, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will happen during that time frame. Okay, I'm speaking with linear times, but time isn't linear. So, I mean, I've definitely had the experience where I experience symptoms of like an eclipse 2 weeks before the eclipse happens. 5 days before a full moon, I'll feel it. So it doesn't matter, okay? But you get the gist, okay? I just want you to know about Pleiadian lineup and the energy. So last week, I just felt like I really needed to slow down and take care of myself and just be really gentle and honor my femininity. And then I don't know why I got on my YouTube app on my phone, but not the YouTube, like regular YouTube. It was the Creator Studio for people who have channels and create content. And on there, I found like a ton of comments from people on my stuff like that I had never seen. I don't know what YouTube is doing. YouTube has gotten very weird. Anyways, didn't see all these comments. Some of them were like from a month ago, 3 months ago, 2 weeks ago, 5 months ago, just all kinds of dates. And I just saw them last Friday, okay? Literally last Friday. And one of the comments was from a starseed brother. He left me some links to some spiritual anime and told me to check it out. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I checked out his channel and then I started looking at this anime and I was like, wait a minute. It was crazy because it was lining up with things I had been pondering on, trying to remember, trying to line dots up. And I don't know if you're subscribed to my e-newsletter, in there I talk about grief and remembering Lemuria and feeling grief from my Lemurian lifetime, but not really knowing what I'm grieving about, that I don't have that memory. I don't know, I may have mentioned it here or there, but anyway, so the universe and my guides were bringing information to me that I have been asking about. This is Lemurian quartz, so this is another thing. Like, I've been wearing Lemurian quartz for about 3 weeks or something, doing this meditation on Lemuria, like just really trying to tap back into my life. There's stuff that I remember from Lemuria, but then there's pieces that are just like blacked out. I can't remember. So anyways, I started watching some of this anime, and I mean, really good stuff to where it's like over an hour long. So I think I watched like one or two that night. And so then Saturday, I mean, first of all, my mind was blown because I was like, damn, I'm finally seeing this on Pleiadian lineup. So I know I was being directed to go find it, watch it, receive the information, process, and reconnect and stuff. So I think it was like Saturday, or late Saturday night going into Sunday morning, I decided to meditate. And when I did, I ended up meditating for hours, like hours. And it was very surprising. In my meditation, I was able to connect with some of my guides and some of my partner's guides. But when I first was trying to attune to my guides and like change my vibration, like shift out of vibration, and there's multiple reasons why my vibration is just like will fluctuate. Anyways, at first I felt a presence in our space, like an intense presence. It was like I could see this huge mothership, but it was really dark, murky, like gave off really bad, confusing vibe. You know, you definitely want to pay attention to how you feel when you're tuning into energy, different energies, period. On top of that, it was almost like I saw a flying reptilian. And then I didn't give in to fear. I just stopped. I was like, I only give permission for beings of love to be here in my space and communicate with me. So anything that is not in the vibration of love, you do not have any authority or permission to be here. Leave now. And once I did, I saw them leave. But I also kind of like heard this like creepy-ish chuckle. I'm not kidding, it was creepy. And I just had this knowing that this presence was manipulative. The fact that it came in or tried to come into my space when I called on our guides, and I just got this feeling that like it likes to try and it likes to try and make you think that you are talking to your guide. So it gives off like a trickster, manipulative energy to where if you're not clear, I would say, don't have enough clarity and discernment with energies, you would easily be deceived, thinking that your guide, one of your guides, is talking to you. That was the first interesting thing. I'll fast forward because I did have a lot of, conversation and stuff with our real guides. And then I felt led to scan myself and also cover myself with protection and like, I guess basically surround my aura with golden light. So as I was doing this, my whole aura is being like just slowly flowing with this gold light coming around all over me. But then as it like was flowing over to this section of my aura, it just kept going bump, bump. It was like it was bumping something. And like it wouldn't completely cover, and it just kept going like this. And it would just stop. And so I was just like, oh, it's probably me thinking too much. Let me just let it be. But it still wouldn't cover this area. I sat there for a minute and then I was like, let me take light to this. Let me take my inner light here. And then I also called on my guides and asked for them to assist in bringing in more light for me to have the awareness of what was going on in this section, okay? And when I did, I saw something attached right here in this area. And it looked a lot like a leech, literally what a leech would look like. I was like, oh, okay, an entity. And as soon as I became aware of it, I spoke to it and told it, you have now been made known. You've been acknowledged. Now you can't hide anymore. Like, what's seen cannot be unseen. And I just shined all of my light here and removed it, basically. I told it had no permission to be there. That at this point in time, I'm not sure how it was able to even attach to me, where it came from, whatever, but that it does not have permission to be in my space, to be feeding on my energy, to be feeding on my light, or trying to feed off any of fear that I feel, or rescinded and revoked. All contracts, bonds, ties, any kind of permission that was made consciously or unconsciously, you know, in a manipulative manner. And as I stated these revocations, I started coming off, and then I just like went in and was pulling it out, just bringing in more light. And I was like, you cannot stay here. You cannot remain here. You need to leave. The only choice that you do have, the only opportunity that I can provide for you, is that I offer this rainbow bridge, a rainbow bridge that I have created. You can choose to look within yourself and start to evolve. If not, you need to leave. Like, period, you need to leave. But you have the opportunity to. But after I said that and I was like removing it, all of a sudden I heard one of my guides say Archon. And I was like, oh, okay. So just a quick brief side note here, because I don't want to go too much into it. And honestly, I stopped looking into this stuff years ago, when I became activated. And tons of memory just immediately downloaded in 2012. You know, like I've mentioned tons of times, a lot of us came together and we were in this 1 or 2 groups on Facebook, and we were constantly sharing information and talking about stuff. And a few brothers and sisters would mention things about archons, and I tried to follow it. I tried to read things. It's just not where I was at. I was just being fully led to focus on my emotional health and spiritual health and my mental health, and like healing from the intense abuse of the past 3 years. I just knew that it was an archon, has something to do with an implant. You know, okay, something being implanted on you, in your aura, in your energy field. So when my guide said that, as I'm removing this thing, it became completely known to me. So it was removed, and then all of a sudden it made so much sense. I realized it was some kind of robotic entity implanted in my field at some point in time. And like I said, I didn't even realize it was robotic. So I feel like no one would really realize some kind of robotic entity is attached to you until you have brought your light to it fully. And now it cannot hide in any shadow. Any kind of entity just basically hides in your ignorance. When I say ignorance, I just mean shadow. When I say shadow, that just means areas within you haven't healed or brought your awareness, your light to. And so I brought my light here, correct, right? I brought my awareness to this area, realized there was this entity attached, and then as I continued flood light in, it became crystal clear it was some kind of robotic entity. And when I realized that, it made sense that, like, previously in the beginning of my meditation, when I had that reptilian presence and then they went away, heard the laugh, and then I was trying to ask some questions in the beginning, still trying to tell this presence to leave. I heard an answer to a question that I had asked, but the answer just kept looping. Instead of it just being like this gentle energy that I usually feel, like a gentle energy with like a stream of thought being received, it was like this robotic, well, at first it wasn't robotic, it was just like a voice on loop. And I was like, okay, I get it. But it was kind of, it was different. It was a different vibe from the rest of the communication. So once I became aware of this, it made so much sense why I heard and felt this loop, this voice. It was this implant trying to basically intercept and distort the true messages coming through from my guides, okay? And it was obviously trying to do that too by flooding my brain, flooding my thoughts with this loop, the answer over and over and over and over again. And then so once I tuned back into that answer, I could hear it. I could hear the robotic sound. Okay, so like I said, you're not gonna know it's robotic until you really bring your awareness, your presence to it. When you do, you finally really tune in. And I don't know how else to tell you this. I don't know who else has experienced this. I don't know if it's only people who have fine-tuned their clairaudience. I'm just sharing my experience. But yes, once you truly tune in, you can hear it. It's a robotic voice. It's literally like a robot, and it just repeats what it's saying in a robotic voice. Okay, there's that. Okay, so that happened. Removed it, called in protection, fully realized what was going on and the kind of energetic attack that my people and that me and Ty and others like us are under. A lot of us here on this planet, the kinds of subtle energetic attacks we are under, okay? Very subtle, very manipulative. Called on protection, stated my sovereignty. After this meditation, I went to our front door of our bedroom, so the bedroom of where we're staying at, the house we're in, and I have a little whiteboard on our door, and I have a short mantra from the Hanuman Chalisa on it for protection. Well, under it I added, I am sovereign. Boom, like that. I am sovereign. Wrote it on the door, and I was like, boom, that's it. Nothing will step forward into this room ever again. Like 5 hours later after this, okay, and remember, I meditated in the middle of the night, like the wee hours, like 3 in the morning. Meditated for like 3 to 5 hours. And like 5 hours later, so now it's like 11 a.m. or 12 p.m., somewhere around there. Ty and I go run an errand because we're really hot in our bedroom. Not enough airflow. My asthma is extremely triggered, especially because of the place we're staying right now. And so when we get back, we are immediately attacked by a certain individual in this home. And this is the same individual I have spoken about in an Instagram post where I'm very open and vulnerable about my experience with molestation and abuse and that kind of energy, and then that being triggered, the feelings of that being triggered because of the individual in this home. Yeah, so I've spoken about him in like Instagram stories, on my feed, in YouTube, I'm sure, and then also on my blog, in my devotion. Like, I have a very, very detailed post on Hanuman and Mother Mary, and I mention a very controversial interaction with an individual here. So immediately, like 5 hours after I remove this Archon, tell this reptilian presence it needs to get gone, right? Like, get out of my space. And then state my sovereignty once again and put it on the door to protect our room. Boom, we get attacked by this individual. And I was just like, whoa. All right, and I was like, with my energetic shield, I was like, whew. And I mean, even after that, I spent all day cutting cords from this individual, sending light to this individual, clearing my aura, and still I felt this intense heat around my ajna, forehead, and crown chakra. And I was just like, Jesus, like, wow. Like, the attack was really intense. Very intense, gross, nasty, energy, and mostly directed at me. This individual has some kind of personal issue with me, which to this day, I do not know what it is. He will not tell me. And he also believes that I am completely lying about my health and my lungs, and that I have asthma and that I can't breathe in this house. That right there in itself flabbergasts me. So anyways, after that I was like, wow, this is insane. You know, someone being used, basically possessed, to attack us because we cleared ourselves and told them to get out of our space. So this is me telling you that once you do this, which I've stated this before, I go into more detail in other videos. Like I have one that's over an hour long on emotions and claiming your sovereignty and changing your vibration and revoking, okay? And I have another video. So once you do this and you start to claim your sovereignty and remember your sovereignty, standing in it, and you keep cutting these bonds and these cords and stuff, they do try to reattach, just like anything else, right? Like when you cut cords with someone from your past, energetically they try to reattach, you know? And you got to keep doing it until finally there is no reattachment. And at the same time, you have to work on yourself, like go within and find out, where is it that you still have wounds and that need tending to, some TLC, you know, practicing forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, you know, all that good inner work, right? Inner work, shadow work, healing, forgiveness, dedication to your spiritual life. I'm trying to get all this out. There's still way more to be said, and I'm just trying to do it, but I'm just short of breath. Okay, so that happened, right? We get attacked, and I'm just like, okay. After that, I go share it with my sisters, my soul sisters. And when I do that, one of my sisters comes back and tells all of us that her sister just fell down, like fainted outside, then wakes up, comes inside and is vomiting or something like that. And then she has a big bruise on her upper right forehead above her eye. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, that's where I removed the Archon, right? I was like, wow, that's pretty significant. I don't know the full connection there yet, but okay. Her sister is okay. She had to be taken to the hospital. Apparently she had some kind of seizure. Literally just fell, blacked out outside, and either maybe something hit her in the head and she fell and blacked out, or she blacked out and fell and hit her head. We've actually been discussing the possibilities, because also, I don't know about you, but we have been experiencing timeline shifts like a motherfucker. Like straight up mandala effects all over the place, merging, like just details different. 1 minute it's like this, the next is like this, or the next day something slightly different, you know. So that's something else to keep in mind. So we've just been discussing like what could have possibly happened if, you know, with all the timeline shifts and merging, something possibly happened in another timeline, and then she's experiencing it in this timeline, yada yada yada. Literally after my sister shared that about her sister, okay, getting the bump on the head, another sister comes into the chat and says, look, after Trina shared about removing an Archon, and then, you know, you sharing about your sister falling and getting the bump on her head, I felt it was significant enough for me to sit down and go within and scan myself. And she told us that she also found an implant behind her eye, and she had to spend so much time pulling this thing. She said it had so many tentacles pulling, and she had to pull out for a long ass time. And I was like, this is it. You know what I mean? It's like something's definitely going on. Okay, after she shares this, so now this is me and 2 other sisters. Okay, there's 3 of us now. Then one of us, the one who had the sister who fell and bumped her head, she came back in and said that her son is a little boy, very little, like 2 years old, 2 to 3 or something. He pulled a shelf at his grandmother's, and I guess it fell on top of him or something, and he got a bruise in this area. She said she also had a dream where there was an entity in her home, and this same son walked into the room with her, and his light just emanated out of him, and the entity left. Oh, then Ty also experienced pain, like a headache, sharp pains in this area. Now, with all that being said, I am confident there are others around the world who experienced something similar last week or recently or whatever, you know, and I'm sure you'll come forward and share your stories with me. I hope you do, honestly. And this is what I can feel, okay? This is what I can feel and sense, what I feel like I'm supposed to speak on. What is happening on the planet, okay? What I stated to you many times in Instagram stories, posts, videos, all that jazz, YouTube, wherever you are watching me right now. I have tried to put this out everywhere I can. What is taking place on the planet, really feel into it. Choose what you want to tune into. Do not tune into fear. Do not tune into the fear mongering that is being planned, that is being programmed, and it is mostly being programmed through what? Media. Okay, through your fucking television. Not just through your television, your mobile devices, okay? You get on social media, what do you see all over your newsfeed? Now you see news sources like popping up in your notifications as if you've subscribed to them or something. You know what I mean? They're trying to flood you with information. Choose what information you want to absorb. Choose the vibration you truly want to be in, okay? I'm not going to get into a discussion about COVID. I'm not going to talk about theories and everything. I've already shared what I feel on it. You cannot, I feel you should not be tuning into this fear, okay? This is all to get a grand amount of people into a certain vibration, because these same entities that I just spoke of in the beginning of this video, the only way they can survive is if they are feeding off of you, feeding off of fear, feeding off of chaos, anger, bitterness, regret, anything that is of low vibration and causes us to be in disharmony and disharmonious with ourselves and one another. Anything that is not loving. It is time to go within and to remember who you are, your true nature, your heart, and love. The vibration of love. We are here on this planet to be in harmony. Look around you. You need to see this from a bigger picture. This is not just about skin color. We are different races. And when I say races, I don't just mean ethnic races. There are so many star races here on this planet, and we are all living here together. And we're supposed to be living here together to live and work in harmony and to evolve to a higher state in harmony with one another and this beautiful, magical, healing planet. It's been done many times before. There have been other civilizations that literally evolved and came to its peak, okay? And this is exactly what is happening with our current society and the races we have now. This is what's happening. We are evolving once again. And the old paradigm, the old is shedding. It can't work. It won't work. It's false. It is a false system. It is one of manipulation and slavery. It is false and not in alignment with who we are. It is not in alignment with the Galactic Federation of Light. It is not in alignment with what we're supposed to be doing here on Earth, okay? Whew. Okay, that was needing to be said. It came out fast, and that's what's being channeled out. Now, I will address briefly what is now taking place in the very city I am in, Louisville, Kentucky, and what is taking place in other cities like Minneapolis, Atlanta, I don't know where in Tennessee, basically almost everywhere now in the United States, because there have been intentional, unjust killings, racial killings, okay? This isn't new. It's not like this is something new that just happened. This is happening for a long time, and it's wrong. People are getting fed up. I'm surprised it took this long for people to get this fed up to where they're rioting. I'm not going to sit here and say the rioting is right or wrong. I'm saying that we are humans. We are all now humans on Earth. We are now Earthlings, and we feel. That is like one of our major powers, is that we feel, okay? So you have all these human beings who see this injustice, and they're feeling sad, infuriated, angry, betrayed. The killings are intentional. They are intentional. I don't know all the intentions behind it, but obviously it's malevolent. It's for a reason. And I personally feel one reason is to incite anger and dissonance and a divide, basically a divide among the people. Because talking about race, talking about racism, talking about violent crimes against African Americans and other ethnic people, but mainly African Americans, is a very touchy subject, very emotional subject. And I don't know, I've met a lot of people. Some completely understand, some are kind of like, some are indifferent completely, and then there's some that are kind of on the fence, and then you have some that totally get it, and you have some people that like, they're trying to like dismiss it like everything has been taken care of. The fact that laws were changed and that we're all free and we can all work and we all can have homes and yada yada yada, that it's all taken care of. But it hasn't been taken care of. And I tried to explain this to somebody the other day, that a whole people were taken from their home country. Okay, the African diaspora, me, incarnated into this body as Trina Otero, as a Puerto Rican. I am the result of this act. I was incarnated into a whole new ethnicity, race. They don't even know what the fuck we are. Sometimes some of us don't even know what the fuck we are. Race, ethnicity, whatever the fuck, right? But my incarnation is literally like the ethnicity I chose to incarnate into is literally the result of this crime against a whole group of people and other people. The indigenous of Africa, the indigenous of the Caribbean. People have to start seeing beyond the physical. And with racism and what happened to my ancestors and others' ancestors, we're carrying that within our DNA. We're carrying around this information, these memories, these feelings. Women, we carry it in our womb. We carry it in our bones and our blood. Men, you're carrying it in your DNA. So we feel it more intensely than someone else who is not currently ethnic. Someone with white skin may not really fully understand, you know, They may have had past lives as an ethnic person. But in this current incarnation, if they come from a bloodline that doesn't in any shape or form connect with any of the countries in Africa or the Caribbean or any indigenous, right? They're not carrying the information in their DNA as the people that were oppressed and abused and all of that, right? So people need to understand that this is a generational wound, an ancestral wound. So feelings do need to be addressed. Feelings have to be addressed. And people, whether they are the ones who were oppressed, their ancestors who were oppressed, or the ones who were oppressing, we all have to heal. We have to realize that we have to heal ourselves, and we have to help. We have to forgive ourselves and forgive one another, right? You can't just create a law and say, okay, everything's fine. That's taking care of it in the manifest, but what about within? Things haven't shifted within in every single person on this planet. So that's all I'm going to share on that, okay? Anyways, the fact that I was made aware of the reptilian presence, the Archon implants, and seeing it in my fellow sisters in my sacred circle, and then all these injustices that are happening, as in, you know, what happened in Minneapolis and here in Louisville, a woman being shot in her home. This is all recent, and this all goes back. This is all tied to malevolent entities on our planet, on planet Earth. These entities are not respecting and valuing the rules, the laws that are here. There are laws on our planet for our universe, and there are so many beings, there are so many races that are working together in harmony outside of planet Earth, but also with beings here on planet Earth and involved with planet Earth. Okay? And there are beings who do not want to work in harmony with all these other beings and races, okay? You need to understand that they've infiltrated governments, okay? Hello, disclosure. So many other countries have disclosed information, and the US is like seriously straggling behind. Like, why? After Stephen Greer and all these other people have seriously come forward with so much fucking information. You know? Us light workers, we have been saying this for a while, that we all need to wake up, everyone on the planet. And it's true. And I see that all of the stuff that we've been through, even the way showers before us starseeds, they had to do this work to pave the way for what happened and what is happening. And we've been paving the way as starseeds and indigos. We've been paving the way, crystal children. It's like, it's all leading up to this point, what's happening. This evolution taking place on the planet. This huge dynamic shift in consciousness happening. The old earth and the new earth, the prophecies, it's real. It's a shift in consciousness. If you truly raise your vibration, and if you're doing the inner work, if you've been doing the inner work, I'm sure you're experiencing this, all these like glitches and timelines and these merges, and one, you know, you're seeing this bliss of new earth, and then you see this chaos in the old earth. With all these energetic changes happening on the planet, the malevolent entities that I'm speaking of, it's like they're trying to grasp tooth and nail. They're trying to find any reason to try and stay and manipulate But there's so much light flooding into the planet. And there's so much light already here on the planet with you, with our brothers and sisters of the light, all of us here. There's so much light already here and surrounding the planet. And it's hard for them to stay. So, I mean, they're grasping. So it's becoming increasingly obvious. That's the right word. Okay, it's becoming increasingly obvious when there is possession, when there is entity possession or manipulation of some kind on a person or in a situation. So the fact that there's more light flooding in, and if your consciousness, if you you keep shifting to higher vibrations, you are able to tell when someone around you or someone who is being nasty towards you or attacking you, it's more obvious that there is an entity involved in this, okay? There's a huge vibrational shift between you and the other person and the situation. It's just, you know, go back to when I shared my experience of becoming aware of something here, and as I flooded in more light, it became increasingly aware of what was there. I could see it, I could see what it looked like. Then I became aware that it was an Archon and then a robot and that it had a robotic voice. So it's the same concept. As you continue to flood more light, bring in more light back into yourself, because that's what you naturally are, okay? Bring in more light, shed all these layers and get all this gunk out of your aura. Cut all these cords, cut these cords of dysfunction from your past with other people and with entities, okay? Cut away, clear all this stuff. As you bring in more light, you have the spiritual vision to see more clearly what is taking place around you and on the planet, everything that is going on. No, I apologize. I can't sit here and answer questions like, how long will they be here? All the logistics around it. I just know what I'm supposed to tell you. Pay attention. State revocations. Reclaim your sovereignty. It's not like you ever really lost it. They just dulled so many people down to where they don't even realize that they have a free will. People are blindly following what others say because they trust, or just do it because they're in a how do you say, like those farms, the huge producing farms that just have like cows in a line, like inhumanely. You're just blindly following and listening, like, okay, think for yourself, man. Start researching. Start learning your constitutional rights, because a lot of stuff that has been stated during this pandemic has been unconstitutional. For the love of God, please be aware of this whole COVID thing. And I personally, I will not tell you what to do, but I personally will share that I will not get a vaccine and I will not get tested. Okay? Do the research and protect your kids. I personally, if I had kids, I would not have them tested. I would not let them get the vaccine either. They're trying to scout kids, okay? And DNA. Be careful. What else? I'll say it again, like I've said it many times in other videos. I personally think that we need to get back to working together. We need to create literally a whole new system. Government, the police force. You already see how fucked up it is, okay? Our system is broken. We need to create new everything. Educational systems, a way of life, a way of thriving and something that is more in synergy with Earth and one another. Some form of energy exchange, currency, true, real healthcare, something that actually cares about people and our right to be healthy and informed, something that incorporates ancient, tried and true healing methods, energy work, Eastern traditions with the science that we have now, Eastern and Western thinking together. There's just a whole list there. And honestly, I've stated this in blogs and everything else that I personally feel that we just gotta get off grid. Like, get land if you can. That's my goal, land. And to hopefully build a healing center or like a healing hut or something. And hopefully one day a school. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's it for now. Truly, I thank you for listening to my wheezy, extremely interrupted attempt at sharing this information and these messages with you. Thank you for being here, and stay rooted in your heart. Stay rooted in love, in truth, in the true nature of who you are. You are a spiritual being who incarnated on planet Earth. And most likely you've been reincarnating on this planet for a while. I hope you have awakened or are waking up to your purpose here on the planet. Just waking up to truth and remembering, okay, that we are truly all here together. It's getting increasingly difficult to breathe, and we're all going home. You know, we're all making our way home. Oh, I will include the anime below. I want to know what you think of it, and if it helped you, if it sparked anything, resonated, didn't resonate, whatever. I have my own thoughts on it. If you want to discuss it, we can, and maybe I'll make another video. Honestly, I do want to make another video. Okay. Namaste. Mitakoe oyasin. Aroha nui.
Who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. Who cares if one more light goes out?